Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. And in today's video, we are going to be making an AI inside of Python with only 52 lines of code. And for this, we're going to use a Firebase backend and the Hugging Face inference client, which is 100% free. And before we get any further into the video, please make sure you go check the link in the description, which is the link to my website, my blog, where I post more tutorials like this and more source code information for how to get started with Python scripts. Now, to actually show you how the Python code actually runs is I'm going to first show you how to make the login system just like this. This is the login and sign up page, and I'm going to click on sign up right here. And all you have to do is click on your Gmail right there, and you can type in anything you want or whatever Gmail you prefer. And I'm going to use a random Gmail and put a random password right there. And as you can see, we can see account created right there in our terminal. And here's our Python input for our AI. And I'm going to say, hey, to my AI. And let's see what response I'm going to get from my Hugging Face AI. And as you can see there, hey there, how can I assist you today? And this is the AI we're going to be making in only 52 lines of code. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. So the first thing we're going to need to do is actually install our Hugging Face module so that we can run it inside of our Python scripts. And to install this module, all we're going to need to do is open our IDE and type in import OS just like this. And right below this line of code, we're going to type in os.system right here, open parentheses. Then inside of quotes, we're going to type in pip install just like this Firebase 4, which is our backend module, and we're going to install Hugging Face underscore hub just like this. So this is the pip command we're going to use to install these modules, and once you run this code you will have your modules installed. And right after this, we're going to need to set up our environments, which is our backend, and set up our free API key from the Hugging Face website. And for that, we're going to need to go directly into our browser. Okay, now that we're in our web browser, the website we're going to need to go to is the actual Hugging Face website. And to do that, we're going to need to type in huggingface.co/settings/tokens, and this is the exact URL we're going to need to go to right here. So all you need to do is click enter right there, and you'll be taken to this website right after you create your free account. And right after you create your account, once you're in this website, all you're going to need to do is click on this button right here that says create new token. And once you click on that, you should be redirected to this page right here. And all you need to do once you're in this page is click on this button right here, which is the token type read, and click on that. And all you need to do is give your token a name. I'm going to call this my new project. You can call this whatever you want to call it, but I'm going to call it my new project. And all you have to do is click on create token button right here. Just click on that and you have your free Hugging Face API key right here. And make sure your Hugging Face API key starts with HF underscore, because that is a very key important thing inside of your API key. And all you have to do is click copy right here, and we have to go to our next page, which is the Google Firebase console. To go to our Firebase console, all we're going to need to do is actually type in our Firebase console link by typing in console just like this .firebase.google.com, and this is the exact link you're going to need to go to create your Firebase project. And once you hit enter on this link, you should be redirected to this page right here where you have your list of Firebase projects and a button saying create a new Firebase project. And for this video tutorial, we're going to click on this big button right here that says create new Firebase project, and all we're going to need to do is click right here which says enter your project name, and I'm going to call it my new AI. You can call this whatever you want to call it, and click on the continue button. Then as you can see here, there's enable Gemini in Firebase, and you can have this on or off, it doesn't really matter, and click on continue right there. And again, you can click on continue because Google Analytics doesn't really matter. You can, if you want to, and click on create project, and all you have to do is wait for this project to load up. And now once your Firebase project is done loading up, you can click on this continue button right here, and you'll be redirected to the main Firebase homepage. And once we're inside of this homepage right here, as you can see, we have Gemini on the right side and these other properties right here. And I'm going to close this Gemini window and click on this search for products bar right here. And I'm going to search for something known as the authentication, which we're going to use for sign in and sign up. And once you search for that, all you need to do is click enter, and you'll be taken to this page right here. And all you need to do is click on get started right here. And once you click on that, you should be redirected to the authentication page for Google Firebase. Okay, and now once you're here, all you need to do is click on sign in method right here and click on email/password. And that's the authentication type we are going to be using in this video. And all you need to do is click on this button that says enable right there and click on save. And that's what we're going to be using for creating and signing in with accounts. The next thing we're going to need to do is create a database and a real-time database. And to do that, we're going to need to go to this drop down right here, which is databases and storage, and click on Firestore right here. Once you click on Firestore, you should be taken to another Firebase page where you can create your main Firebase Firestore. Then once again in this page, all you're going to need to do is click on this button right here which says create database, and you should be redirected to the create database page right here. And you can choose between standard edition and enterprise edition, but for this video we're going to use standard edition and click on next right there. Then for the database location, it really doesn't matter, but in this video I'll use United States and click on next. And for the configurations, I prefer to use it inside of production mode rather than test mode, and click on the create button right there. And all you have to do is wait for it to finish being created. Once it's done being created, you should be taken to this page right here which shows you your main Firebase database. You have your data, rules, indexes, and other things, so on and so forth. The next thing we're going to need to do is create a real-time database by going back to databases and storage and clicking on this button right here which says real-time database, and it should redirect us to the main real-time database page. And all you have to do inside of this page, like the others, is click on this button that says create database right here, and all you need to do is follow the instructions while creating the database. So for the database options right here, you can click anything you want. For the location, I'll click on US Central 1 and click on next right here. And for the security roles, we can put it inside of locked mode and click on enable right there. And all you have to do is wait for our real-time database to be created as well. Once your real-time database has finally been created, all you need to do is click on this button right here that says rules right there, and it should take you to this page right here where you can see .read and .write are both set to false. And what we're going to need to do is erase both false values and set them both to true, because this is going to allow our AI to read and write the accounts that will be created inside of our Firebase database. The next thing we're going to need to do is actually install this inside of our main Python IDE. And to do this, we're going to need to go to this settings drop down right here and click on general right here. Once we click on general, this is where we're going to create our main app from. So all you need to do is scroll down right here and click on this web view icon right here. Once you click on this, it should take you to this page right here where you need to add your Firebase web app. Firstly, all you need to do is click on give it a name and say I'm going to call it new AI, and click on register app right there. And all you need to do is wait for it to load up and add your Firebase SDK. So from this code that we're seeing here, all we're going to need to do is copy this Firebase config file right here. Everything inside of these curly brackets, all you need to do is click on copy, and then we are done setting up our Firebase and we can continue back to console. Then the next thing we're going to need to do is actually go back into our main Python IDE. Okay, now that we are back inside of our main Python IDE, the next thing we're going to need to do is import our modules. And to import our modules, the first thing we're going to need to do is import Firebase, which is the module we're going to be using to communicate with Firebase by typing in Firebase just like this. The next module we're going to need to import is the Hugging Face module by typing in from Hugging Face underscore hub, just like this, without any spaces. Just like this, we're going to import something specific, which is the inference client, just like this, with a capital letter I and a capital letter C right here. And right below this, we're going to import two other modules that are built into Python, and this is the time module and the sys module. And to import these, we're going to type in import time and import sys, and these modules will be needed for communication inside of our Python module. Now that we're done importing these modules, which too needed to be installed externally through the Python terminal or the client, all we need to do is now make our Python Firebase config. And to do this, all we're going to need to do is I'm going to make a comment right here and type in config, and we're going to set this equal to whatever we copied from that website from Google Firebase. And once you paste it right here, we have our API key, auth domain, database URL, project ID, and so on. And what we're going to need to do after importing this is putting all of them inside of quotes, because this makes them all strings and fail to cause non-errors inside of our Python script. Once you are done putting them all inside of quotes, the next thing we're going to need to do is actually initialize the Firebase and our AI. And to initialize this, all we're going to need to do is type in Firebase, which is the name of our variable we're going to call our main Firebase. And we're going to set Firebase equal to Pyrebase, which is our module. And we're going to type in dot initialize, just like this, underscore app right here, and we're going to type in config, because our initialization thing is the config file right here. So after we initialize our app using the Pyrebase module, we're going to make an auth domain by typing in auth is equal to firebase.auth, just like this. And we're going to make our database, and I'm going to call that DB, short for database, and I'm going to set it equal to firebase.database, just like this. And I'm going to add a set of parentheses right here. Then I'm going to add our final thing, which will be the client, which this is basically our main AI, and I'm going to set client to be equal to inference client, which is the module we get from Hugging Face, just like this, inference client. And I'm going to set the first parameter is going to be the exact module we're going to be using, and for this module we're going to be using qn/qn, just like this, and the version of qn we're going to be using is 2.5-7b-instruct, just like this. And this module is basically made for text only. And if you want to make an image generator inside of Python, you can make sure to look at my other video, or if you want to make an image detector in Python, you can check out the video inside of the description. Then right after this, we're going to add a comma right here and set token. Token will be set equal to whatever our Hugging Face API key was originally set to be. So inside of quotes right here, all we're going to need to do is paste in our Hugging Face API key right there. And once we reach the end of it, we're going to skip a line right there. And now we get into our main Python code. So the first thing we're going to need to do is declare our Python mode. And the mode is basically whether the user wants to sign in or sign up. And to do this, we're going to need to type in mode. And the mode will be equal to input, just like this, and 1 will be set equal to, let's say 1 is going to be set equal to login, just like that. And then we're going to set 2 to be equal to, let's say, create account, just like this. And I'll put it just like that. So now that we have our create account function, just like this, create account user input, the next thing we're going to need to do is ask for the user's email and say email is equal to input, and we're going to say email just like this. Then we're going to need the user's password too, and we're going to set password equal to input password, just like that. And then we have our email and password. Then after we get these necessary 3 variables, we're going to make a try statement right here, and this is where our main AI code is going to be, just like this. We're going to type in try, and then what right below this try statement, we're going to type in if mode is equal to 2 inside of quotes. Make sure it's inside of quotes, otherwise you get an error. Then if it's equal to 2, we're going to make a function, and in this function, what's going to happen, we're going to make it create an account by typing in auth, which is this Firebase auth right here, and we type in auth dot create underscore user with email underscore and password, just like this, and we'll pass in email comma password, just like that. Then we'll print out right at the end, we're going to print out acc created, so that the user gets notified if the account has actually been created. Then after we're done with our if statement, we're going to set a user variable, and user is going to be equal to auth dot sign underscore in underscore with email underscore and underscore password, just like this. And we're going to pass in email comma password right at the end of it, and make sure you don't have any spelling errors, otherwise you're going to get a massive error. And we're going to make a user ID variable, which is our specific user ID we're going to use in our Firebase backend, so that we don't mix up any files with other people's files. And we'll set up user underscore ID equal to user dot or we can use the brackets and say user brackets. Inside of quotes, we're going to type in local with a capital letter I and then type in ID, local ID, just like that. Then right below this, we're going to make a download data part, just like this, where we get our data from our main Firebase console. And we're going to type in cloud underscore data, and we're going to set this equal to db.child, which is our database.child, and we're going to go inside of our users folder, and inside of this we're going to go into .child again, and we're going to look for our specific user underscore ID, and from that we're going to get our value by typing in .get.val, just like this, so that we get our specific value. And in case we want to save our history, we're going to type in history, and this is the main reason for our Firebase backend, and say history is equal to cloud underscore data, just like this, and cloud data, if cloud data, just like this, it will be wrapped inside of an if statement, and else, just like this, we're going to type in role right here. After the else statement, we're going to have open brackets and open curly brackets. Then inside of quotes, we're going to type in role. Then after this role, we're going to have a full colon and type in system inside of quotes. After this system, we're going to add a comma right there and type in content. Right after this content, we're going to type in, inside of quotes, we're going to type in how you want your AI to behave. You can type in, you are a helpful cloud-based AI. You can make it whatever you want it to be. You can make it your best friend. You can make it whatever you want it to be according to the specific prompt. And right after this, we can print out something like connected, so that we let the user know if we're connected to the actual cloud data storage path. Then after this, we're going to make a while true loop so that we can get our user input consistently. So we're going to say while true, which is our infinite loop right here, and we're going to say user underscore input is going to be equal to input, just like this, just like this, and this is what you input. Then right after this, we're going to need to make our exit words by typing in if user underscore input, just like this, dot lower with parentheses right there, and we're going to type in just like this, and we're going to add brackets right there and type in our exit words. We can type in exit, comma, you can type in quit, you can make it whatever you want it to be. You can even say bye, and that will be your exit word. Just make sure it's all in quotes. And right after this, we can say break. So this actually ends our while true loop and ends our main Python code. Then right below that, we can add a function. We can say history.append, which actually appends our AI data interaction with our user. By typing in history.append, we add parentheses and curly brackets right here. The first thing we'll type in is the role, and the second thing we'll type in is the user, because this is the user input we're getting. Then right after this, we're going to type in a comma and type in content, just like this, add a full colon, and the content is going to be user underscore input, because this is the input that you are giving to the user right after history.append. Then we're going to have response, which is our AI's main response, and we're going to set response equal to client, just like this, client dot chat underscore completion, just like this, and this is our chat completion function, and we're going to type in history inside of the first parameter, and right after history we're going to type in max underscore tokens, and we're going to set this to be equal to anything you really want. You can set it to 500 because it's fully free. And right after this, we're going to need to make a stream, and the stream will be equal to false, just like this. Then right below this line of code, we're going to make an answer variable, which is what our AI is going to output. And answer is going to be equal to response, just like this. And we're going to say response dot choices, and make sure you are very specific with the spellings. Add brackets and pick choice 0 dot message dot content, just like this. And right there we have our message content variable. The next thing we're going to need to do is tap in history.append so that we upload our data to the cloud, and do the same thing, open brackets and open parentheses. Then the first thing we're going to type in is role. Then the role is going to be assistant, because this is the assistant's output that we're going to be saving. Then after this, we're going to type in content, and the content is going to be set equal to answer, and make sure this is not in quotes, just like user input was not in quotes. Then to save this to the cloud memory, we're going to type in db.child right at the end, db.child. Then we're going to say users, just like this. Then we're going to type in .child again, and we're going to type in user underscore ID just to be specific. And we're going to say .set, and we're going to set it to be specific, and we're going to set it to be history, just like that. Then we have made our AI. But as you remember, we made a try statement, and that's made to accept any errors. So at the end of it, we're going to make an exception by typing in except, just like this, except right here, exception with a capital letter E, and we're going to say accept exception as E, which is the error we might get, and we're going to say print, just like this, add an F right here, and we're going to say auth error. In case we get any sort of errors, we're going to print out our specific error and make sure this E is inside of curly brackets so that we get our specific error. All you need to do now is save your code and actually run it to test and see if it works. Okay, and now to actually run our code and see if it works, as you can see, we get our main Python prompt to either log in or sign up, and I'm going to choose sign up. And right there, to sign up, we're going to need to choose an email, and I'm going to choose something random by saying Michael, let's say 123 at gmail.com, just like that, and click enter, and my password will go all the way 1 till 8, and hit OK. And let's see if our account was created successfully, and there we have it, our account has been created. So all we need to do is actually talk with our AI. You can say anything, let's say hey, and let's see what response we're going to get from our main AI. Let's see what it's going to output, and here we have it. How can I assist you today? Feel free to ask for any specific topics and whatsoever. We can ask it for anything. Let's say what is the formula for, let's say, something like density, and let's see what output our AI is going to give us. And the feedback speed entirely depends on your internet connection, and as you can see, we get our main output right there, and all you have to do is scroll either up or down and continue seeing what you can use. And for me, I'm using PyScripter, so I can't access my terminal right here because my input is through this text field right here. So you can type in whatever you want. You can name your AI and say your name is Jamal and hit enter, and your AI will be named Jamal, and the name will be stored inside of the Firebase console, just like that. So the next thing you can do is actually edit the way your AI can be talking to you by editing this specific part right here. From you are a helpful cloud-based AI in Python or anything you want, you can change it to whatever you want completely. And if you have any errors, all you need to do is check any spelling errors or any interface errors from what we discussed in the code earlier. Make sure the modules are imported properly, and if you don't mind, you can import the time module and the import sys module, just like this. I removed these earlier because mainly they weren't necessary for this beginner Python project, but we can use them inside of this project. Then in case you get any other errors, make sure to correct them, and if you made it this far into the video, make sure to hit like and subscribe, and visit the blog on bitscriptlive.blogspot.com, and I'll leave the link inside of the description. And make sure you watch all of these other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.